And countries around the world are seeing this. The attack on Ukraine, the isolation of Russia. So all of them are rethinking their strategies. Neutral states are rethinking non-alignment. Pacifist nations are raising armies again. The only victim of nuclear attacks, Japan, is talking about hosting nukes. Clearly, Putin's war has forced a rethink of policies that are almost a century old. We'll begin with Japan. In 1945, the United States dropped 2 nuclear bombs on Japan. Around 200,000 people were killed. Since then, Japan has advocated pacifism. They know the power of nuclear weapons. They know the evil of an atom bomb. Yet some Japanese leaders are thinking about it, like former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. Here's what he said about hosting American nukes. In NATO, Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands and Italy take part in nuclear sharing, hosting American nuclear weapons. We need to understand how security is maintained around the world and not consider it taboo to have an open discussion. This is what Shinzo Abe said. And just to be clear, this is not some local politician in Japan. This is their longest-serving prime minister and influential voice in the ruling party. Has Prime Minister Kishida responded to it? Well, he has. Kishida says hosting nukes is out of the question for Japan and that Japan's non-nuclear principles are sacred. But that's not the case for Belarus. They're diving into the Russian bear hug. This week, the Belarusian parliament passed a key legislation. What does it say? 2 major things. A, that Belarus can host Russian nuclear weapons. And B, that Russian troops can stay permanently on their soil. In other words, Belarus is becoming a Russian satellite state. And if that happens, other European nations may react, nations like Finland. Until now, they have remained non-aligned. But after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the Finns are rethinking. Let me show you what a new opinion poll found. 53% people backed joining the NATO, 28% opposed it, and 19% were unsure. More than 50,000 people signed a resolution asking Finland's parliament to debate this issue. What is the government saying? Finland's Prime Minister, Sanna Marin, has supported non-alignment. At the same time, she wants to keep her options open. She says if it comes to national security, she will apply for NATO membership. Switzerland, too, is making moves. On Monday, they announced joining the European Union sanctions on Russia. But the most consequential pivot, you could say, has come from Germany. Twice in the last century, they unleashed world wars, the Germans. Their belligerence led to large-scale violence. So after the Second World War, Germany withdrew into a shell. They spent little on the military. They took a back step in world politics. Basically, they became a reluctant power. But last week, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz made a U-turn. He is planning to spend $112 billion on defense. He is sending weapons to Ukraine. This is the return of German hard power. What about the so-called rogue states? How are they seeing this war? As a lesson, Ukraine handed over its nuclear weapons in 1994. 28 years later, they're under attack. What does that say to countries like North Korea and Iran? That nukes help. Both countries are blaming the US for this war. North Korea also tested a ballistic missile on Sunday, their 8th test this year. Kim Jong-un sees what is happening in Ukraine. He will draw the links between nukes and deterrence. So chances are he will hold on closely to those weapons. Where does that leave South Korea? A new poll found that 71% of the South Korean population wants a nuclear weapon. Technically, Seoul is part of the US nuclear umbrella. What does that mean? If needed, the US will deploy nukes to protect South Korea. But how reliable is that promise? Will America risk its own cities to protect Seoul? Many South Koreans do not want to take that chance. Same with Iran. We were told that a nuclear deal was within reach with Iran. Now the tone has changed. Iran says key issues are yet to be resolved. The Ayatollah is blaming America's, what he calls, mafia regime for Russia's war. The deal may still happen, but Iran will definitely play hardball. In conclusion, let me say this. Putin's invasion has busted a 21st century myth that war is impossible. If you're powerful enough, if your core interests are threatened, you can wage war. That is the message from the Russian invasion. So every country is rethinking its strategy. Some are hoping for alliance support, like Finland. Some are betting on a nuclear umbrella, like Belarus and Japan. Some are building their own defense, like Germany. Whatever the strategy, we can be sure of one thing. We are entering a new era of hard power politics. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.